Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Ashley Van Dyke with Advantage Software, and on today's video, sharing real-time files with division interval, I'm going to show you how simple it is to share real-time files with your scopists and proofreaders using a system like Dropbox. Division interval allows you to send portions of your document as it's being created so that your scopists and proofreaders can begin work right away. And in addition to sending chunks of your real-time file as it's created, Eclipse will also send the WAV file when using division interval. For this example, to use division interval, I have installed Dropbox on my computer. You see that I have my Dropbox icon down here that I can use to access all of my files through the Dropbox app. And if I open Windows File Explorer, I have a Dropbox folder on the left-hand side here. And you see that right now I don't currently have any files or folders saved in Dropbox except for the default files that come with Dropbox. What I'm going to do is set up division interval in Eclipse so that Eclipse will drop portions of my real-time file along with the WAV file into whatever folder in Dropbox I want. I'm going to create a folder for my scopist and I'll share that file with them. Eclipse will drop portions of my real-time file into that folder according to the settings that I set up in Eclipse, along with the WAV file. Anyone that I share this Dropbox folder with will be able to access those files and begin working. You may want to use division interval with Dropbox instead of or in addition to connection magic. If your internet connection is simply not very stable and it goes up and down a lot, division interval using something like Dropbox may be more reliable for you than something that requires a stable internet connection like connection magic. With this methodology, you don't need to worry if your internet goes up and down. Dropbox will simply resuming uploading the files when internet is available, and when internet is unavailable, it simply won't upload any files. For right now, I'm going to close my Dropbox folder, and I can set everything up from within Eclipse. The first thing that I need to do is tell Eclipse where to put my division folders. I'm going to go to Settings, Programming, and File Locations. Right now in my file locations list, I don't have a line for division interval. You see that I don't have anything in this window that says division equals. So I'm going to click Add. I'll choose division from the list. I'm going to find my Dropbox folder, which typically will be listed at the top of this window. And again, if I hit the little arrow next to it, there are no folders here except for the one that comes with Dropbox. What I'm going to do is highlight Dropbox and click Make New Folder. I'm going to call this file scopist. I'll make sure that that's highlighted and press OK. And now you see that I have a line that says division equals, and it's pointed at my Dropbox folder at the new folder called scopist that I just created. So I'm going to hit OK and OK. And if I click my Windows File Explorer icon again and go to Dropbox, you see that now I have my scopist folder. What I can do is right click on this folder and next to the Dropbox icon choose Share. Here, I can put in the email address of my scopist and click Share. And you see that Dropbox has notified me that this folder has been shared, and it gives me the option to go and look at it. But I don't need to do that right now since I have it open already. So now that I've shared this folder with my scopist, they'll get an email with a link to the folder and they'll be able to download the files that I put in this folder. And that'll be true whether I use Eclipse and division interval to put files here or I copy them manually. Now that we have set up division interval under Settings, Programming, and File Locations, we've added the division line. We can actually turn division interval on or off. In the Real-Time tab of my user settings, there's a setting here for division interval. Whatever number this is set to is how often Eclipse will make divisions in your file and copy that information out to the folder that you've shared with your scopist and outlined in the file locations of Eclipse. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to set this to 1 for 1 minute. If division overlap is checked, the last paragraph of one division file will be the same as the first paragraph of the next division file. This will make continuity of the files easy to determine for your scopists and editors. Division overlap is an optional setting, and if you uncheck it, there simply won't be any overlap in the files. These are the only two settings that relate to division interval besides setting up the file location in the Programming tab. If you don't want to use division interval, simply set this setting to 0 to turn it off. You don't need to remove the file location from the Programming tab in order to disable division interval. You simply need to set the interval to 0. And again, I'm going to set my interval to 1 for this demonstration. Now that I have this division interval set to 1, to demonstrate how division interval will send files and send the audio, I'm going to start a Realtime file. And you see the file is writing and the audio is recording. And the file was started at 12:08, so once the time kicks over to 12:09 p.m., the file will divide. And you see it has changed to 12:09, and we saw a mild pop-up message indicating that the file had indeed divided. And it's now 12:10 and another minute has elapsed and another file has divided. I'm going to open up my Dropbox folder. And you see that I have division files for each minute that I started this job. Since I didn't use an underscore at the end of the file name, I am getting divided audio and text files, in addition to one large WAV file. Usually it's not recommended to use division interval this way so that you get so many WAV files. This may be desirable in certain circumstances, but for most users what you want is multiple text files with a single WAV file. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my Realtime file. And you see that once I stop my Realtime file, again a new file is divided that includes all of the ending information for the file. And so since I had my division interval set to 1, you see that it dropped a file every minute of that job for as long as it was open. And then it finalized both the full WAV file and the final pieces of the job when I closed it. So you don't have to wait for a file to divide at the end. When you close a file, it will automatically finish and send that division to your scopists or proofreaders, or whoever you have shared your division folder with. I'm going to get rid of these files. And I'm going to close my Dropbox folder, and I'll close out of this file. I'm going to start a new Realtime file, and this time I'm going to end the file name with an underscore. And I began my file at 12:13, and you see that as soon as 12:14 hit, the file divided. Even though it hadn't been a full 60 seconds, because the clock ticked over, the file divided immediately at 12:14. So I'm going to continue writing for a few more minutes and we'll get a few more divisions. And again, the clock has ticked to 12:15, and so the file has automatically divided once more. And again, the clock has ticked over and another file has divided. I'm going to go ahead and end my translation. And if I reopen my Dropbox folder, you see that this time I have only a single WAV file, and each time the file divided, I got a new text file only. This is typically the desired way to set up division interval. However, there may be certain circumstances where you do want the WAV files to divide as well. If that's the case, you can just abstain from using an underscore in the file name. Depending on the type of work that you and your team are doing, either option may be what you want, and Eclipse is flexible enough to let you do both. Since I'm using Dropbox to share these files, I can see that they have green check marks next to them and they've already been uploaded and they should immediately be available to my scopist. Depending on the speed of your internet and the size of your files, it may take some time for your files to finish uploading, especially the WAV files. But most sync and share programs like Dropbox or Google Drive have a visual indicator that your files have finished uploading. If you need to make sure that the files are done uploading before you disconnect your internet, it's a good idea to go to your Dropbox folder and just make sure that you see those cues before you pack up. Division interval is an amazing real-time file sharing backup if connection magic doesn't work for you or the circumstances that you're working in currently. The division interval settings are flexible, and they allow you to set up the work in the way that works best for your team. Using division interval is simple. The only things to remember are that you do need to set up a file location in the Programming tab, and this is where Eclipse will send your divided files. And then, to turn division interval on or off, simply change your division interval setting. If it's set to 0, division interval will not divide any of your files. If it's set to any number, division interval will divide your files at that number mark. For instance, if I set this to 30, division interval will divide my files every 30 minutes after I begin the file. However, if you don't just want them to happen every 30 minutes, but you want them to happen at the 30-minute mark on the hour, you can also set this setting to -30. If this is set to -30, files will divide at the hour mark at minute 00 and at the half-hour mark at minute 30. So if you begin a job at 9:05 a.m., if this setting is set to 30, your file will divide at 9:35 and 10:05 and 10:35. But if it is set to -30, your file will divide at 9:30, 10, 10:30, and 11. Which setting you use is purely your own preference. However, both work essentially the same way. Once that interval is reached, Eclipse makes a copy of the file and sends it to the location on your computer that you've specified. And if that's a location that's shared by a program like Dropbox, the file will be automatically uploaded to your scopists, or whoever else you've shared that folder with. If you need to check on the files for some reason, you can press Alt-E, Browse, and you should be able to access your Dropbox files through the Dropbox link on the left, and you can open any of the files that you need to. And this one was the one that was made almost immediately after we began the Realtime file, and so there's very little data in it. But if I return to the Dropbox folder, you'll see that the next one has a minute's worth of data in it. And so again, these files are created exactly as often as you specify. For this example, I used 1 minute because it's the smallest interval that will work. But you can use any interval that will work for your team. Thank you for watching this video. If you have questions about division interval or any of Eclipse's other great features, or Advantage Software's other amazing products, please don't forget that Advantage Software offers anytime support 24/7. Tech support can be reached anytime, including weekends and holidays, at 772-288-3266. Email support is available at support@eclipsecat.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you'll be notified when we publish new content in the future. Thank you so much and have a great day.